myself up now. So I'm Peter Lloyd. So I'm the director and founder of Gardens by Peter Lloyd. So we're a multidisciplinary landscaping company based in the Northwest, and we have been going now for 7 years. So we specialise predominantly in the design and construction of sensory gardens. So we help business owners, we help local authorities, we help the NHS, and we also help charities obtain funding to be able to work and restore the garden and develop the garden space. But as I say, we specialise in sensory gardens because I really believe and I'm passionate that gardens should be a place of enjoyment and fulfilment. Very much my family. So from a young age, I grew up in a family of garden enthusiasts. My granddad, my dad, that's my dad's dad. It was always a place from a young age that I'd go spend time doing jobs in the garden, getting taught the horticultural side of things. Even when I went to university, I always used to come back home and like asking questions, or what have you done there? What have you done that for? Academically, I'm a kind of a landscape designer, garden, that's my background, design. I'm quite creative. But obviously the sensory garden side, I got into that through my dad, because unfortunately he had a debilitating lung condition, pulmonary fibrosis, and sadly he passed away 10 years ago. And for somebody who was really in tune with the garden, he loved his gardening, it was his pride and joy. In the past like 12 to 18 months of his life, the garden was a place he just wouldn't go into because it wasn't laid out, it wasn't catered for anybody with an illness. He didn't feel like it was a private place, and he couldn't do his jobs, his pruning, etc. So that's really why I'm passionate about gardens being a place of enjoyment and fulfillment, and making them accessible for everybody, whether you're in a wheelchair, whether you can walk, making raised beds accessible, and having a place for it to be a sanctuary as well, where you can go and reflect and just do nothing. That's something which he didn't have in his later years. So that's why I'm passionate about creating those types of gardens. And we helped, so not long after we started the business back in 2019, put together an application for the Southport Flower Show to support his charity, Pulmonary Fibrosis Trust. So we designed the garden to raise awareness of that particular charity, with like raised beds, low level beds, sensory planting. It was great. We got a gold medal for it as well, which was fantastic. But most importantly, we got to raise awareness of that condition. And since then, really, the core of the business has been around sensory gardens, designing gardens for wellness, and kind of bringing people and communities together. The difference between a normal garden and a sensory garden might be simply, having a wide range of different plants. It's not just about plants, it's about hard landscaping materials too, and choosing your materials, hard and soft, wisely. Having plants, hard and soft landscaping to evoke the senses. So for sight, for sound, for smell, taste, so evoking all of the senses. And as I say, doing that creatively through having different materials, different hard landscaping materials, and different planting to make you want to reach out and touch and engage in the garden as well. Biggest misconception, I'd say certainly one of the things which is expected when you're designing and build a garden, one of the big requests is, I want a garden which is going to be low maintenance, or I want a garden which is going to be great all year round. You can achieve that. Well, it's very difficult to design and build a garden which is going to require no maintenance at all, because every garden requires some sort of maintenance. So it's just educating them on, what level of touch they want to provide that garden over the future years, and then I can tailor my design to suit them as best as possible. But it's about educating them really on, you will need to maintain the garden in some capacity, and we offer maintenance plans either through the actual doing the aftercare for them, or we can give them like a document which tells them what to do and when. If you've got a budget and a client is willing to be honest and upfront about the budget from the get-go, that's great, because it saves me a lot of work, because I can then tailor the proposal to that particular budget. So if I know how much a client's got to spend, I will tend to focus on certain elements like planting, the big elements like trees, hard landscaping, and prioritise the important bits. And then we can factor in anything which may be able to be we could phase later on in future months to suit the budget. I've got to big myself up now. Better ask an Andrew instead. I know it's better coming from a third party. Why people tend to come to us? I'd say our knowledge from the horticultural side, the design side of things. We don't come in and just wade in and say, you need to do this, you need to do that. We really do our research on projects, and we factor in what the user needs and what they want as well. And we are specialists, so we're coming in, we're making the right decisions, putting the right planting in the right place, for example. So that's the first and foremost, our kind of technical knowledge and expertise. We involve our clients right the way through the design process, and they are part of the process as well. For our private client projects, for our commercial projects, if we're working with like the NHS or we're working with charities or local community groups, we really strive to involve the community within those projects, whether it be early consultation. So when we designed and built the Ukrainian Peace Garden in Liverpool for the Eurovision, we did a lot of research with the Ukrainian refugee focus group, because we wanted to bring a little bit of Ukraine to Liverpool for the Eurovision and beyond. So we had to do a lot of research to make sure that the garden was going to be authentic and reflective of a garden which you would find in Ukraine. So we would do a lot of research with the stakeholders, with the users, and also we'd have them in during the build as well, helping them out with the physical gardening, just to give them that kind of extra appreciation and interest in the garden. We've done, obviously, in terms of favourite projects, we've done, it's really difficult to choose, because we've obviously done we've done the flower shows, we've done Southport Flower Show twice, supporting charities. We've also done Tatton Park Flower Show for the RHS, great. We relocated that garden to the Walton Centre in Aintree for the use of the NHS staff. So that's really satisfying, because although the garden show experience was great, now it's good to see that the garden's getting used in a really positive way by the staff, because it was donated to them around the time at the end of the pandemic. So we felt like if anybody deserved this garden, it's the staff of the NHS. So they're the kind of projects which I take great satisfaction from. In terms of more recent, we completed the project over in Hesketh Park in Southport last year with Sefton Council. And again, just seeing people using the garden 6, 12, 18 months after you've done the work, they're enjoying that space, that public space. It's really satisfying to see that you leave a legacy for people to enjoy for future years. So if people want to find us, we've got a website, gardensbypeterlloyd.co.uk. We've also got our social media channels, Instagram, so it's Gardens by Peter Lloyd.